Hello, friends, and welcome to Elements in Alchemy, the podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Johnson, sharing the astrological, lunar, and tarot influences for the week ahead of February 16th through February 22nd, 2019. We are in blueprint season, and blueprint season began 2 weeks ago with the Aquarius new moon, and Aquarius season is the season where we are asked to be visionaries. We are asked to remember what our highest hopes and ideals are. We're asked to take our essential creative essence and our creative expression. How do we want to share that with the world to build a blueprint, to build a vision for how we want to live, how we want the world to be, what we want our world to look like? So that's basically the essence of Aquarius. And through this moon cycle, the next 4 weeks, we're in blueprint season. Even though we're going to be moving into Pisces season pretty soon, Aquarius is what started this new moon cycle. So we're going to be in this blueprint season for the next 2 weeks, even though, like I said, we're going to be moving into Pisces on Monday. So we're asked right now to envision our highest ideals. What kind of life do we want for ourselves? Who do we want to be? Who is our ideal? What's our ideal version of ourselves? What's our ideal version of our lives? We're being asked to expand ourselves into that vision for what we want. So since the Aquarius new moon, we've really been shown a lot of things, and we're wrapping up cycles. We're wrapping up cycles of healing through Chiron and Pisces, and that, wound of separation from our essential divinity and that reconciliation that we have between our divinity and our humanity. And we're wrapping up Uranus and Aries. Uranus actually rules Aquarius, so Uranus is the higher mind. That's where we get our vision from. So Uranus being in Aries for the last 9 years almost has really been liberating. Uranus is that essential spirit, our higher mind that liberates us, liberates our thinking, liberates everything about us. So it's been liberating us from anything. It's been liberating our will. It's been liberating our individual will to act. So that's been Uranus's thing. And then we're also wrapping up the cycle of the eclipses on the Leo Aquarius axis, which were asking us to remember our essential expression, remember our joy, remember our creativity. That's our fire. Remember that inner fire, and find the folks who resonate, find the folks who stoke that fire, who feed it, who ignite it, and who want to feel the warmth that you bring, who want to feel your expression, who want to be in your light. Find those folks. So now we're asked in Aquarius blueprint season to envision a life for ourselves, envision our ideal existence. We're getting our power back. And through all of these cycles that we're ending, we're getting the power to create. We're getting the power to create our own lives. We're getting the power to be co-creators with the universe for our own existence, and to follow our soul's objective, like what we came here for, to remember that and align with it, and to co-create from that space. So our blueprint, we come here with an essential blueprint. We all do. We all have a soul purpose on this planet. And right now we're being asked to remember that purpose and align with it, to align with our purpose, while also understanding that we have grown even since we've come here. So we're growing into that purpose, but in some ways, maybe we've even grown beyond that purpose. So to envision the life, align with our truth, align with our soul's truth, and to envision a blueprint for ourselves. What is our blueprint? We have a blueprint, And there are things that need to be revised. The more that we come into our power, the more that we are able to expand what is possible for this blueprint that we hold. We're able to embody more of, we have more of a capacity to envision something bigger and greater for ourselves, something more expansive than we ever thought possible when we were living in a more disempowered state of mind. So that's blueprint season. So for the last 2 weeks, we've been asked to look at our blueprint, look at what it is that we want, look at who it is that we want to be, who it is that we want to be with, where it is that we want to go. Like everything about our lives, we're being asked to look at it and to envision from our highest truth what is possible for us. What is it that we really want? If anything were possible, what would we do? What would we be? Who would we be with? Where would we go? So that's what we're being asked to envision our lives and aligning that with our soul purpose. So we're asked to create this blueprint, and we've been having to align ourselves with that truth, essentially. And this is in order to align with your blueprint and to align with that expansiveness and with your soul purpose, you have to be aligned in truth. So we've been finding places that perhaps we're not aligned with our truth within ourselves, outside of ourselves. Maybe it's a circumstance or a situation or a person or a relationship or something, whatever it is, a belief system, something that does not align with your truth, something that is not a yes to your being, something that is misaligned with your truth. So we've been asked to identify those places so that we can revise our blueprint accordingly, so that we can create the life that we actually want, so that we're not having to be victims of our own circumstances. We're being asked to step up into the role of co-creators so that we are creating and living from our purpose and a life that we actually want to be living, the life that we envision, the life that we came here to live. Close as we can get anyway. So this past week, part of the lunar cycle, we came up on the first quarter square, and I called that the bittersweet week because it was really bittersweet in that as we look at our truth and we align more and more with our truth, what doesn't resonate with that truth becomes more and more apparent. And as Mars in the middle of the week came up to join Uranus in Aries, it's a very volatile, it's a meaning that something has to go. Mars cuts. Mars is our will, so Uranus was giving us, Mars rules Aries, so Uranus is empowering our will to go forth. It's liberating our will and infusing our will with divine intelligence, essentially. So we have that divine intelligence instilled in our will, and we're liberated to go and act, to align our will to act on our own behalf, to build what it is that we envision, to build our blueprint, to begin the stages of building what is in our blueprint, what is our vision. So this bittersweet week was that the more that we align with truth, the more that we see what doesn't align with our truth. It's like this, that's just the way it is. The more we align with truth, the more we see that what is false for us. And it's not that what's false is necessarily what's bad. It's just that it's not aligned with us anymore. And so because of that, we have to then make choices to leave things behind, rearrange things. Things can't stay the same when you're vibrating in a different way. When you're what's not resonant with you needs to change, needs to shift. So that's the bittersweet week, where this past week we were really understanding and feeling what we need to say goodbye to, or what maybe was close to us that we now need to move 50 paces back because it doesn't align with us, and so it can't be close. We have to do that now, and that was the bittersweetness of the week. What we need to say goodbye to so that we can move forward, so that we can continue on our path and realize our vision of our blueprint. So we're coming up on a full moon, and the full moon is going to be on Tuesday. But right now, we are moving into that. The moon is moving into fullness. And as the moon moves into fullness, it's culminating. So culminations, it's a buildup of energy. It's a building. So this energy is building up to fullness. There is something that needs to happen. And what I'm feeling for this weekend is that this weekend is a huge culmination, and it's a very huge shift. This weekend is a huge shift. We've been examining our blueprint. We're aligning with our truth. The more that we examine what we want, that's helping us to align with our truth. And now we know what needs to go. We know what needs to shift. We know what needs to change. We know the direction that we basically want to be heading in order to fulfill this vision, our blueprint that we have for ourselves. And this weekend is the culminating energy. So we're building to that full moon in Virgo. And as we're building that energy, something's about to shift. Something has to shift, because what I'm feeling is that when that moon, by the time we get to the full moon, our blueprint it's finalized. This is the weekend that we finalize the blueprint. This is the culmination of the last 2 weeks of us aligning with the blueprint, revising the blueprint, knowing what needs to go from the blueprint, what needs to be shifted and changed. And there's not that we can't still make revisions, but the blueprint is now going into finalization mode. We've made the large changes. We know what direction we want to go in. We know where we're going. We know what we want. And so now we're about to finalize the blueprint. So this weekend is a big shift. And so Saturday, February 16th, the moon is going to be in Cancer. And when the moon's in Cancer, the moon is looking for emotional sustenance. Okay, the moon is looking to be nourished emotionally. The moon is our feelings, and through each sign, the moon has a different way of expressing feelings or processing feelings. And so in Cancer, the moon wants nourishment. It wants to nourish and be nourished emotionally. It wants that reciprocity. It wants to feel filled and well-fed emotionally. And the moon is going to be trining, which is a fluid aspect, both water signs. Trining, it's in Mercury in Pisces. And Mercury in Pisces is right now, Mercury in Pisces is holding our concept of our blueprint for us. That's what Mercury in Pisces is now doing during blueprint season. That's Mercury's job, is to hold our concept of our blueprint. So Mercury's got the concept of the blueprint, and Mercury is taking that concept and moving it through the waters of Pisces to imbue it with soul. Pisces are the soul waters. Pisces is the soul waters. And what happens in Pisces, Pisces is where we pull our deep creativity. It's where we pull our dreams from. It's the collective unconscious, the collective consciousness. That's what Pisces is. So we are allowing our concept and our blueprint to come to life in our minds. That concept of the blueprint is being imbued with soul. And when something has soul and is backed by emotion, it comes alive. So our blueprint is coming alive in our minds through dreams. And Mercury in Pisces it's highly intuitive. It's very, very receptive. So our minds are open to intuition and dreams and suggestion and possibly even illusion. But we can also think very creatively because it really expands and kind of opens up our minds. Pisces has no boundaries, so our minds are just kind of boundless and picking up all sorts of things. So Mercury in Pisces is holding this concept of our blueprint and talking essentially to Moon in Cancer. And Moon in Cancer is wanting emotional sustenance. And in talking to the Mercury in Pisces is holding this concept of our blueprint and being able to pull from that collective consciousness Mercury in Pisces then intuits, it knows what it is that Moon in Cancer needs to feel fulfilled emotionally. So we're getting that emotional, we're having this dialogue, and we're able to put that into our concept of the blueprint. What emotionally sustains us? What emotionally feeds us? We want that in our blueprint because moving forward, this is our vision for our lives. We need to be emotionally sustained. How does that happen for us? And for each one of us, it's something different, but essentially, we're looking at how we need emotional nourishment, what it is that emotionally feeds us. We're all looking at that. And Mercury in Pisces has the answer to that for us. Through our dreams, we're going to be able to feel what it is that we need to sustain us. Now, after Mercury and the Moon meet, the Moon is then going to move on to oppose. And oppositions are mirroring aspects. Okay, so they're directly opposite each other in the chart. So they're going to the Moon is going to oppose Venus, then Saturn, then Pluto in Capricorn. And when dealing with oppositions, I always like to look to the one thing that they have in common. Look, the signs they have commonalities, but they don't see them. And so you can kind of bounce back from like the heavy traits of one sign to the heavy traits of another sign. In dealing with oppositions, it's best to look at the thing. Oppositions are about relating. That's what any kind of opposition, it's about relating. So when you relate to something, you look for common ground. So in Cancer relating to Capricorn, their common ground is security. That is what they both value. They both value security. So the Moon, having just literally just finished talking to Mercury about, okay, like these are the dreams. This is what I feel that I need for my emotional sustenance. The Moon now opposing Venus and Saturn and Pluto in Capricorn. Venus values what is real, what you can stand on in your power, what is worth investing that time in attracting and relating. What is it worth it? Is it worth it? What is this real, and is it worth it? That's what Venus wants to know. And is this going to elevate me? Is this going to empower me? If not, Venus doesn't want it. So basically, Venus is looking at the Moon and it's like, okay, you want this emotional nourishment, you feel what you need, and that's in the concept of this blueprint, because Venus and Saturn are also, they can talk to Mercury right now also. They're in a sextile aspect. So they understand what it is that's happening. They understand what the Moon wants. However, Venus wants something concrete, as does Saturn. Saturn's like, okay, well, Saturn is about form and structure. So Venus and Saturn together are looking at the Moon and they're just like, you can't eat dreams. You can't eat dreams. How can we make your need for emotional sustenance real? So that's where that sextile to Mercury is going to come in, because they're thinking about how to create a container, how to create a form and a structure to be able to house the emotional sustenance and get that security that they all need. But how to do that for the Moon, how to get that emotional sustenance that's going to provide that security for everyone. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking for where we can build a structure for our emotional security, how we can build that into our blueprint. Then the Moon is going to meet with Pluto. And when the Moon meets with Pluto, I've been finding that as each planet meets with Pluto, we're kind of brought back to points where, because Pluto rules like our deep, deep power reserves. Deep power reserves are deep desires, deep passions. Pluto is as the higher octave of Mars. Mars is our will is our intention. It's what drives us to do a thing. That's our will. What makes us do what we do? Okay, that's our will. Pluto as the higher octave of that is like the absolute basic baseline why we do what we do. Okay, it's what's underneath everything. And Pluto is also the force of evolution, which is really why we do what we do. We're trying to evolve. That's the whole point of our being here. So Pluto, as that ultimate force of passion and desire and will, that ultimate force is to evolve by any means necessary. Doesn't matter. So what I've been finding with planets hitting Pluto has been that Pluto is showing us a structure, okay, because Pluto being in Capricorn right now is actually fucking up structures that are not empowering to us. Okay, so any structure that is disempowering to us is getting flattened right now while Pluto has been in Capricorn. So it's getting exposed, it's getting torn down, and we've yet to really rebuild anything, but it's almost time to start rebuilding. So what I'm finding as planets hit Pluto is that we're being shown the ways that we allow our disempowerment. And people get scared of Pluto, but Pluto's actually very kind. Pluto shows you, and then Pluto's trying to give you that power back through your awareness. So we might, as the moon opposes Pluto, we might feel where we're ashamed to need emotional sustenance. We might feel shame, all the shame of asking for it, the shame of wanting it, the shame of trying to give it to people that don't want it from us or can't reciprocate. So we might have a little bit of shame, or there might be some kind of rub before we realize, I need to build a different structure to be empowered in this blueprint, to be empowered for my emotional sustenance. It's okay to need emotional sustenance. I'm a human being. Human beings need emotional nurturing. That's what we are social creatures. We need that. So it's okay to need that and to take that power back. The power in actually having a need and needing that need fulfilled. There is power there because we tend to be shamed sometimes for needing. Being ashamed for that need of security. We don't have to be ashamed of that. So we could have a moment where Pluto is making us aware of that and offering us that power back. So that's Saturday. Sunday, after the moon talks to Mercury and Venus and Saturn and Pluto, the moon then is going to conjunct the north node of evolution. Now, I've spoken the last couple of weeks about the south node of evolution, and once again, it's a continuum. The nodes of the moon are a continuum. They're hypothetical points. They don't really exist on the moon, but they're hypothetical points, and what they represent, it's an evolutionary continuum that they represent. And the south node is our past. It has a lot of weight. It's where we've taken action previously. So we know how to do the actions of the South Node. South Node is currently in Capricorn. So we know the actions of self-empowerment and, how to build things and how to, we know how to get security out in the world. Okay, we know how to make a name for ourselves. We know how to do all of that. Okay, we've done those things in the South Node previously. But the South Node also, because we've taken action there, action is just karma that reverberates out. So there's karma there. And some of those actions that we've taken, we may have outgrown. Maybe they aren't actions that we need to take anymore, or maybe there are things that we just continue to fall back on, or maybe they just weren't good. Maybe we just didn't do it quite right. So there's a few different ways to read that South Node, but it also has gifts. But right now, what we're talking about is the North Node. And the North Node is our node of destiny. It's where we're being called to so that we can do something differently, which is evolution. It's moving in a different way to allow growth. So that's evolution. So the North Node is pulling us towards evolution, and the North Node is in Cancer. So with the North Node in Cancer, our evolutionary call is for security, but it's for security in the sense of building a building a home, getting in touch with your roots, family, nourishment, mothering, caregiving, making connections. Who's family? What's home? What is emotionally fulfilling for me? Who can I rely on? Who are my people? Where is my nest? Like that's what Cancer wants to know. That's what Cancer wants to know. Those are the things that make Cancer feel very secure. Okay. And that's where we're being called to. We're being called to find our roots, to examine our roots, to find where home is for us. What's home? Who's home? Whether blood or chosen, who's family to you? And what do those connections mean? And to grow those connections and nurture those connections, that's what we're being called to do. So we're being called to create a home for ourselves, essentially a home and a firm foundation so that we can grow into that Capricorn South Node again in a new way. Okay, because the nodes, it's a continuum. So if you master the North Node, then you get to go back and you get the power of the South Node. You get the power of the South Node when you do the North Node. So the North Node is asking us to make a home. What's home? The moon now, after understanding what is emotionally sustaining for it, is now joining with this North Node. What is emotionally sustaining and what is home? So I feel as though because the nodes of evolution, they stay in a sign for 18 months. And we're like 4 months in. So we have another 14 months of the moon's nodes being in Cancer, Capricorn. And we're going to have eclipses along this axis. So our eclipses are going to be in Cancer and Capricorn over the course of the next 14 months. And I feel like this is where we're actually locking into the meaning of the North Node in Cancer for each of us individually. What does it mean to us? So we're finding that place where we are understanding what we're being called to do, where our destiny lies right now, where our evolution lies when this moon joins the North Node. We have a lock-in of where our evolution for the next 14 months is actually taking us, what we're being asked to do. Now, I don't usually talk about degrees, but I'm going to really just hit this really quick, talk about this very quickly, because the 26th degree of the cardinal signs, I want to say, or certain signs, I can't remember right now, but the 26th degree of Cancer is a very important degree in predictive astrology. And basically what it does is it just holds a lot of weight. It pulls focus to that part of the chart. It pulls focus to the ruler of that sign. So the ruler of Cancer is the moon. So it's pulling focus to the moon in any activity that the moon is doing. It's pulling focus there. And then wherever this happens to be in your chart, the 26th degree, it pulls focus. It's bringing focus to that area. Now, I'm talking about this not only because within that structure of astrology, it holds weight and makes us focus there, but also because within astrology, each particular degree has certain meanings. Each degree has certain meanings, and I happen to use the meanings of the Chandra symbols. And the Chandra symbol for the 26th degree of Cancer is a woman giving birth to twins. And what that tells me is that we have choice right now. We are at a period of choice. And I'm mentioning this because as the moon is hitting the North Node, we're getting clear on the direction that we're going. However, this particular degree that the North Node is on gives us two different paths that we can take to evolve. Okay, it's giving us two different paths that we can take for evolution. When the moon's node joins with the actual moon, we are going to then be able to choose which way we want to go. which one of these directions is the right direction for us based on Saturday's intel that we've gotten about what is emotionally sustaining for us. It's going to help us to choose which evolutionary path that we need to take that's going to be the most sustaining for us, that's going to be the most fulfilling and allow us to meet that evolutionary requirement to move on to the next level. So I'm saying that also because the moon's nodes have been on the 26th degree for an extraordinarily long time. Okay, I use the mean nodes, and the mean nodes, they retrograde and they go direct, and they retrograde and they go direct. It's just little increments. So sometimes they're on a degree for longer, sometimes they're on a degree for a shorter period of time, and sometimes they just kind of blow through. But the moon's nodes have literally been at the 26th degree for like, I don't even know how long, and they have not moved. Okay, they are not, this entire cycle from all the way through January, all the way through this month, the moon's nodes have been at 26 degrees. We are being asked to make a choice. Even within our evolution, it's not even just about north node, south node choice. This is which way to evolution do you want to take? Okay, that's what we're being asked. So I'm bringing that up because some of us may have been feeling a pull towards one thing, feeling a pull towards another thing, and we've had to kind of back up, which is going to bring me to my next point, which is that Venus is on the 15th degree. I'm talking about degrees again, on the 15th degree of Capricorn. And I'm bringing this up because the 15th degree of Capricorn was where we had the Capricorn new moon in January at the beginning of the year. And the new moon there, the sun and the moon met up at 15 degrees Capricorn. And that shifted. It shifted something. And the energy that I got from that was that because Neptune was very, very much in play, and Neptune makes it hard to see with Neptune. You can't really decide. You don't really know where you're going. So I think that there was a pull in two different directions. I'm feeling that there was a pull in two different directions around the beginning of January for some people, and they didn't know which direction was actually the one that they should take. So the eclipse came, and with that eclipse and all the Neptune energy, it's kind of like a time to back up, kind of hit pause on where you know where you want to go, you know what's good, but you're really not sure because there's these two divergent choices for evolution. So you're not really sure where you should go, but you do feel pulled in a direction. But it was like we had to kind of stop and allow the Leo full moon eclipse to play out. So then we're eclipsing into ourselves. We're eclipsing into our self-expression, eclipsing into that, and then having the Aquarius new moon come through where Saturn was then on that degree. So we're understanding that we have to commit to something here. And when Saturn was on that degree during the new moon, that's when we started looking at the blueprint and understanding that we could build something. We could build what we wanted. We could actually create what we envision and what we dream about and make it real. So now Venus is on that degree on Sunday as well, as the moon is conjuncting the north node. Venus is on that 15th degree and activating it. So we're activating this degree, and we're being called we're being called to go in the direction of what is real. We're being called to not only follow the sustenance of our feelings, the nurturance of our feelings, we're being called to attract and relate and go towards. Venus is also love. To find what is real for us, to find real love, to find real power, to find something real to invest in. That's what Venus is looking for. So we're being called in that direction now. So the moon's nodes, I think we're going to pick a direction. Those two twins there, they kind of look the same, but they're not the same. So, and that was the key to that eclipse. Like, there's a path that looks right because you can't really tell the difference, but you have to feel it out. And that's the point of the 26th degree also, is that it pulled focus to the moon, and the moon is about feelings. We have to feel our way through this. This isn't about intellect right now. We have to feel the direction that we need to go in. Okay, and this is important as we're culminating this energy right now, feeling into the direction that we need to go. Okay, so Venus, we're still talking about Venus. Let's keep on going. Is on the 15th degree of Capricorn. So it's activating that degree and helping us to choose. Because back in January, we were presented with a choice, but we had to back away from that choice to get some more information, to grow a little bit more, to allow processes to play out and to wrap up. And now we have a clearer understanding of who it is that we are and where it is that we want to go and what it is that we're trying to create through this blueprint. So now Venus is going in the direction of, Venus is asking us to invest ourselves into attracting and calling in what is real, what is materially solid, what can we stand in our power in. That's what Venus is calling in. And Venus is sextiling Neptune. So as Venus is calling all of that in and activating that degree, Venus is sextiling Neptune, and they're talking. Neptune is the higher octave of Venus. Okay, Venus is love and beauty and what we attract and what we value. Neptune is highest love, idealized everything, ideal love, ideal beauty, dreams. It's our collective consciousness, and it's where we pull from to create. It's where we pull from to create beauty. It's where we pull from to help express ourselves, really, but it's in that expression, and that's what Venus values. So Neptune is that higher octave of Venus, so they relate. Sextiles are opportunity aspects. So they're going to sextile, and that opportunity, I look at it as like you get a pleasant invitation. It's a pleasant invitation, and you can either accept or decline said invitation. If you accept the invitation, then you have all of what's on offer. Sextiles can actually turn into trine energy, where the energy flows back and forth, but you have to take the initiative. I call it the free will aspect. You have to use your will in order to open up that opportunity further. So you get a pleasant invitation, you can take it or leave it. If you do nothing with it, then it just sits there and it feels nice, but it can grow. It's an aspect of growth. It's a pleasant growth aspect. So that sextile, Venus is able to talk to Neptune about what's real. And Neptune, like I said, is the land of dreams. It's where we pull our dreams from. Venus is tuned into what we dream about and would like to make those things real. Venus is tuned into our ideal love, our highest love, our unconditional yearnings, those deep soul yearnings that we have. Venus is tuned into that. So Venus is saying, hey, you know what? I want to make some of those soul yearnings real. We're in this blueprint season, but let's make some of these soul yearnings real. So Venus is willing to provide a structure and a container for that. Okay, in Capricorn, Venus is willing to try to make something real. It's trying to make those dreams a real thing in Capricorn. Now the moon, okay? We're going to talk about the moon. Now the moon has conjuncted the North Node and kind of set us on a path because we're in our feeling and we're understanding where it is that we need to go for our emotional sustenance. We're understanding where we need to go to create what's real so that we can sustain ourselves emotionally and attract and invite those who can sustain us emotionally. We're looking for home. Okay, we're looking for home, and we're looking for a real home and something that we can invest in and grow into and from, out from. That's what we're looking for. Okay? So now the moon is going to square Uranus after meeting the North Node. Okay, the moon is going to square Uranus in Aries. Okay, this is the last time that the moon is going to square Uranus in Aries. Okay, this is not the last time that the moon is ever going to square Uranus. That's not what I'm saying. The moon is never going to square Uranus in Aries from Cancer after this. That's not going to happen again. Okay, the moon will not be in Cancer squaring Uranus in Aries ever again. Okay, so this is actually liberating us. Okay, this aspect, it's a frictional aspect. So we're going to need to take some kind of action. Every time there's a frictional aspect, something needs to adjust because it's like an irritation, and you need to do something because, like with a trine, like there's nothing, the energy's flowing, so like you don't really notice it. On conjunction, the energies fuse, so you kind of don't notice it. It can feel a little intense, but you still don't really notice where it's actually coming from. An opposition you see, but you also have the choice of like kind of turning around and just ignoring it. You kind of seesaw back and forth between the energies. With a square, both energies are trying to assert their will. And so because of that, there's friction. And with that friction, you need to do something. Like there needs to be a fusion of those two energies so something can move. Something has to happen with a square. Okay. And the moon is going to move into Leo. And the moon now is going to, when it hits 0 degrees of Leo, is going to trip the degree of the lunar eclipse in Leo in January. Okay, so the moon is going to meet with the North Node and confirm our direction, meet with Uranus in a square. There's going to need to be some kind of action to liberate us, to be able to allow ourselves emotional sustenance in the way that we need. Okay, so it's liberating us and kind of freeing that power to allow that to come to us while also informing the blueprint, because once again, Uranus rules Aquarius. Aquarius is the blueprint. So Uranus is taking all of this in, and Uranus is taking in all of this information from the moon, not only to liberate us emotionally, to be able to expand our emotional capacity for what it is that we need. Uranus is also taking in all of this information from the moon so that when Uranus moves into Taurus, Uranus is going to start making things happen so that we can build the structures that we need based off of this information. So Uranus, because Uranus rules Aquarius, is the mind of the blueprint. Okay, Uranus is the mind of the blueprint. So the moon is going to meet with Uranus, and we're going to be emotionally liberated to open up for emotional sustenance. Okay, we're going to be liberated, and we're going to also give that information to Uranus to add to our blueprint. Then the moon is going to go to 0 degrees Leo. It's going to enter Leo, hit 0 degrees, and that is the degree of the Leo lunar eclipse last month. That eclipse liberated us. Okay, the sun at the time, excuse me. Yeah, the moon was in Leo at that time. The sun was in Aquarius. And now the moon is back there again. Okay? We've been through a whole cycle. And now the moon is back in that spot after having just met with Uranus. So now we're talking about the moon now. The moon has gotten a lot of power back over the course of the last 4 weeks. So now the moon wants to express itself. That's what Leo is about, self-expression. So the moon is going to want its emotional expression. That's what moon in Leo is. It's emotional expression. So the moon wants to express itself. And we are going to feel free to do that. We're going to feel like, yes, there's like an empowerment to be able to emotionally express ourselves. But then the moon is going to square Mars. And when the moon squares Mars, what happens is, the feeling that I'm getting is that now Mars is in Taurus, and Mars in Taurus it's our will. It's our will to build, and it's our will to utilize our resources in order to build. So that's our motivation. We're motivated to use our resources to build things. That's what Mars in Taurus is about. And as this happens, as the moon comes up to square Mars in Leo, the moon wants to express. The moon wants to emotionally express. And whatever that means is whether it's talking, acting something out, the moon needs to do something. Okay, it needs to express itself. Mars in Taurus is not certain. That's the energy I'm getting, that Mars in Taurus is not certain that we have what it takes to do what it is that we want to do. Mars in Taurus is a little hesitant because Mars in Taurus is very practical and pragmatic, and it's looking like step by step by step. Do we have what it takes for you to be able to express yourself? Taurus rules any resources that we have, any talents that we have. It's also our self-worth. So I'm feeling like this is a matter of worthiness. Do we feel worthy enough to express whatever it is that we need to express right now? Do we feel worthy of that self-expression? Do we feel like we have what it takes? Because Leo is also courage and risk. There's an element of needing to take an emotional risk on Sunday. There's an element of needing to take an emotional risk. Do we have what it takes? Do we feel worthy enough to be able to take this risk? And Mars, like Taurus, tends to get stuck. So Mars can maybe just be kind of stuck in a place and not really wanting to move. And Leo's not really, it can get fixed on things, but it is a sign that wants to act because it's fire. It wants to act. So there could be a rub as far as like what it is that we're trying. Like we need to express something, but do we feel that we have the will to back ourselves up? This is about us backing ourselves up. Can we back ourselves up to take this action? Okay. Venus, once again, we're going to talk about Venus again because Venus rules Taurus. Okay. And we've already talked about Venus being on that 15th degree and understanding what it is that we want to attract and call in and how we want to relate. We want to relate in a real way. We want to relate in a solid way. We want to relate in an empowering way. These are the things that we want to acquire, things that empower us, things that are real, things that are solid. That's what Venus is wanting, and Venus is talking to Neptune. And also thinking about our dreams and understanding that we can make our dreams reality. We can create a container for our dreams. So that's what Venus is talking to Neptune about. And Venus rules Taurus. So what I'm feeling is that in order to kind of manage the energy of the square, Venus being in Capricorn and talking to Neptune, we're going to be very aware of what it is that we are dreaming about. We're going to be very much aware of our dreams and what it is that we want, like what our highest, like our most deepest soul dream. We're going to be very much aware of that, and we're going to be very much aware of our capacity to have it come true. Okay, we're going to be very aware of our capacity to have our dreams come true, which is going to motivate Mars to maybe get out of the little stuck rut that he's in and actually allow for that emotional expression. So that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling that Venus and Neptune are going to help Mars to understand that it is safe. You have to take that risk to let the moon express itself, because if the moon does not express itself, there's a chance that we won't be able to make our dreams come true. Like that's what's at stake. You know, and I mean, I hate to sound like so like, I don't know, like fairy tale or whatever about it, but it's true. Like there's something about the energy of Sunday that it's a turning point. Sunday is the turning point because there is something that we need to do. Whether it's internally, externally, I don't know what it is, but there is something that we all need to do on an emotional level that is going to allow us to make our dreams come true. It's the switch. It's happening. So it feels like a switch. It's like we aren't sure because we're coming into this place of power. Like this is all new for us, and we're like, I don't know. Is this going to be okay? Do I have what it takes to ask for this? Like, am I worthy of this? Am I worthy of having my dream come true? Am I worthy of what like do I have enough to take this risk? And we have to say yes. We have to say yes to that. We have to say yes to ourselves. This is a moment of saying yes to yourself. Each one of us has to say yes to ourselves in some way. So that's what I'm feeling about Sunday. Sunday's a turning point. So it might not be that we actually do anything on Sunday. I don't know. I don't know what that means. I just keep feeling that it's just a huge turning point. It's where the blueprint, like whatever it is that has been building to a point where we need to let something go or let something in, this is the time. This is the time. So we're going to need to take some kind of action from our emotions, some kind of expression, whether we need to have a talk, whether we need to go write it out, whether we need to go dance it out, have a play, I don't know, or even just align ourselves emotionally, saying, you know what, I am fucking worthy and I'm going to do this. This is what I want and I'm worthy of it. Even if that's it, because you won't have circumstances haven't lined up for you to take an action yet. Even if you just do that's enough to flip the switch and to begin the process of solidifying your blueprint, because that's what we're moving into for the full moon on Tuesday. So Monday, the moon has moved a little farther. Okay, so the moon is out of squaring range of Mars, but where the moon will be trining, which is a flowing energy, Jupiter and Sagittarius, both fire signs. So they're going to want to act. So whatever maybe didn't get done on Sunday, you're going to want to do it Monday. Okay, and I'm only saying that because Jupiter and Sag expands things. Like Sagittarius is expansion. Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so it's in its home sign. So we're wanting to expand something emotionally. Our emotional expression, our capacity for that is going to expand. So whatever it is that we want to do, it's going to get magnified. So we're going to want to emotionally express ourselves, okay? And that's we're going to want to do that. It's going to build. It's going to feel really big. So Monday might be the day that, that the doors open for that, or that we decide to go blow open a door or blow it up or whatever. I don't know, whatever happens for you, but that might be the day that whatever it is that you need to do, you are able to do. Or if if something did happen on Sunday where you were able to express whatever needed expressing, this could be the day where you actually feel that expanded sense of self. Like you can feel the expansion from having done that. So that's also something that could happen with the moon trining Jupiter and Sagittarius. But either way, our emotional expression is going to align with our highest truth, and we're going to want to act on that. Okay, there's going to want to be some action, some expansive action in that direction. Okay, and whether it got done already or we're about to do it, our emotional expression is going to expand. We're going to expand into the truth of our emotional self-expression. And that's moon trine Jupiter and Sag. Let's see what else is going to happen. So the sun is going to sextile Uranus and Aries. And when the sun sextiles Uranus and Aries, they're both going to be at 29 degrees. Sextile, once again, is an opportunity aspect. It's an invitation it's a pleasant invitation that we can decline or accept. So the sun sextiling the sun in Aquarius, which is our conscious blueprint, our conscious vision for what we want, conscious blueprint. Sextiling Uranus in Aries. Uranus rules Aquarius, but is currently in Aries, liberating our will to act, liberating our individual will, liberating ourselves as individuals, and infusing that with our higher mind. Okay, so that's that. So what's happening is the moon is in this opportunity aspect with Uranus. We have an opportunity to, I'm trying to say, to connect that will, to connect our will, to connect that higher minded individual willpower that we have with Uranus and Aries to our to the consciousness of our blueprint. We're infusing that in. It's an opportunity. It's also an opportunity to liberate any parts of the blueprint that don't belong still. We're still in that phase of taking things out that do not belong. Okay, so Uranus and the sun are talking about, it's more revision, it's more taking out, it's more liberating, it's more making space, it's more rearranging. That's what they're doing. It's more revisions to that blueprint. So we have an opportunity to do that before the sun then moves into Pisces. The sun is going to move into Pisces after the meeting with Uranus. And after that, when the sun goes into Pisces, our consciousness, which is holding the blueprint, our consciousness is holding the blueprint. It's going to go into the waters of Pisces, where it's going to be immersed in soul waters, into the collective conscious. This is where we dream. This is where our blueprint gets a soul. Okay? It's going to get a soul. It's going to get emotion behind it, and our consciousness will be able to, our blueprint will be able to start to come to life in ways that it wasn't able to when it was just a vision and a vision in our mind. Okay, our visions need vessels. Okay, water it's a conduit for the electricity of Uranus. So the electricity and the spark of spirit of our blueprint goes into the soul waters. The soul becomes the vessel for that blueprint and animates it. The soul animates the blueprint and gives it life. Okay, so that's what's going to happen. So then we have Venus conjunct Saturn. Now, Venus is conjuncting Saturn. We just talked about Venus being on that 15th degree in Capricorn and talking to Neptune yesterday. So Venus is making us very, very clear and activating the choice, activating our choice, which direction we're going. Venus is making it very clear the direction that we are heading in now. When Venus meets with Saturn on Monday, Venus is committing to that. Venus is committing to that direction. Venus is committing to the process of providing a container to make our dreams come true. We're committing to the process of the blueprint. We are committing to our evolution. We're committing to our next steps of evolution when Venus and Saturn conjunct on Monday. So that's why I'm saying this is all a very culminating aspect. So whatever it is that happens on Sunday that causes a shift and turns something on in us and starts changing things, we're committed by Monday. Monday, we're committed, because then the sun is going to hit Uranus and pass off that information and then go into Pisces, where it's like the blueprint has been held and held and held and carried and carried and carried. And now it's time to take it to another part. So that it starts to, like I said, become alive. And once it starts to become alive, then we're committed to it. We are committed to this process from here on out. We are consciously committed to this process, because now it's not just a concept of a vision that we're holding, that we're allowing to be a dream, which is when Mercury was in there alone. Now our consciousness is in the waters with this blueprint. So we're in it. we're in it. We're committed to this process now. So that's what this means. Chiron on Monday is also moving into Aries. Okay, and when Chiron moves into Aries, it's going to be a shift. Like when Chiron was in Pisces, it was very much about our soul wounding, the wounding of our souls and the wounding of separation from our souls and our souls from source, and, transcending that feeling, because we really are not separate from source, but it seems that way to us. Okay, it seems that way to us here on earth, and it is a wound that we all carry. Here in Aries, Chiron is going to shift. It's a shifting of gears. So we're going from water to fire. And it's a shifting of gears in the woundedness. This is the wounding of the individual. Okay, this is the wounding of the individual. The wounding of the individual through use of will. Now, whether it's the individual's will or the will of someone else, this is wounding through the use of will. So we have to be this could be a rather really touchy and hard time, like this transit. But right now, we're shifting gears. So what this means to me, anyway, is that, Chiron has done the job of helping us to remember our soul's connection to our divinity and to remember our soul's connection to ourselves, so that we can be empowered to create this new life for ourselves, create this new vision, create this new dream, and help to bring it into being. Chiron's work in that department is done. And now as the sun moves into Pisces, Chiron moves out and into Aries. So we have both of these planets at 0 degrees. Okay? And it's going to start telling us a new story about how we use our will. Okay? So we just had Mars retrograde that last year. So that was aligning our will. Uranus is actually at the 29th degree of Aries. So Chiron at the 0 degrees of Aries and Uranus at 29 degrees of Aries, in my mind, that's a portal. They're actually holding open a portal for the right use of will. Okay, Chiron is a wound, but Chiron is also healing. So we're going to be healing. We're going to be understanding and healing and transcending any wounds to our individuality. Okay, any wounds to our individuality. That's what we're going to be working on in Chiron. So we're holding a portal, and I feel like we're holding a portal for this new will to be birthed through Aries. That's what I'm feeling, like a new masculine energy coming through Aries. So that's just a little side note there, but Chiron's moving into Pisces until 2027. So we've got 8 good years of Chiron in Pisces, Chiron in Aries. Keep saying Pisces. Anyway, so that's all happening on Monday, the 18th. Tuesday, the 19th, the moon. Okay, we're going to start with the moon. And the moon is still in Leo as the day begins at midnight. And the moon will eventually trine Uranus in Aries. So this is the last time that the moon is going to trine Uranus in Aries from Leo. Okay? And this is a trine, so there's an energy, it's fire trine. So there's the moon, like I said, the moon wanted to act the day before. Like it was getting a rub to act on Sunday, really, really wanted to do something on Monday. And now Tuesday, the moon is trining Uranus in Aries. We're liberating. This is liberating our emotional expression. It's liberating our emotional creativity. It's liberating something. It's liberating us to act from our emotional expression. It's liberating us, while also giving, like, once again, every time there's liberation, we have to let something else go. We're freeing ourselves from something that no longer needs to hold us. So something is leaving and something else. We're free to move. We're free to move. We're free to create. We're free to express ourselves. We're free to have that emotional self-expression as the moon trines Uranus in Aries. And then this is once again going into the blueprint, going into the blueprint. Uranus is holding the blueprint. Okay. It's again. So the moon's going to trine Uranus in Aries, and then the moon is going to move into Virgo. And when the moon moves into Virgo, it's going to oppose the sun in Pisces, and we're going to have a full moon. So what the full moon is meaning to me is that the blueprint is finalized. Okay, we just went through the process over the course of Saturday, Sunday, Monday of finalizing this blueprint. Okay, we know the direction that we're moving in. We've committed to that direction. We've said what we need to say. We've done what we need to do to make this changes that needed to happen. Okay, we understand what we need to let go of. We understand where we're going. And now the blueprint is ready to be finalized. While the sun, is in Pisces, our consciousness is holding this blueprint. So our consciousness is holding this blueprint and allowing it, our consciousness and the blueprint, the consciousness of the blueprint is being infused with soul and emotion, and it's turning into a dream. Okay? Blueprints are static. Dreams move. So that's what I'm saying, that it's getting life. In Virgo, okay, the moon is feeling into, okay, the moon is able to feel into how this dream becomes embodied. Virgo is about manifestation. Okay, where Pisces is dreams, Virgo is manifestation. Virgo is where things become embodied. Okay, Pisces is the soul. Virgo is the body that the soul is housed in. So what that Virgo full moon is going to do is it's going to shine a light on how we are going to embody, how we are going to give this blueprint life. Okay, how are we going to create this blueprint? That's what Virgo is going to do. And Virgo is about discernment. So not all of the things, like our blueprint is immersed in, the dreamland, and there are things in there that not everything can always come from the soul realm into the physical realm. So Virgo is going to start, sussing out the details of what can be handled here in the physical. Not everything vibrates in the physical the way it does in the spiritual. So Virgo is going to start looking at those things. Pisces and Virgo, their common ground is perfection. So Pisces is that ideal perfection, and Virgo is looking for that ideal perfection too, but they're trying to create that in a physical space. So it's really about the details of creating and the how of this blueprint. So Virgo here is going to become the engineer. Virgo is the engineer. How do we make this blueprint? Okay, that's what the Virgo moon is. It's like we finalized the blueprint and now we're giving it to Virgo to figure out how it gets built. What are the specs? What are the details? What little tiny things did we kind of miss that should be moved? Like Virgo and Pisces are also mutable signs. So because it's mutable, they're not fixed. So there's still wiggle room if little things need to change, but the overall structure of our blueprint that we want, it's there. Okay? The vision is there. So now it's a matter of how do we create this vision? How do we make this vision that is now a dream? How do we make that dream into reality? How do we embody that dream? So that's what the full moon in Virgo is about. Also on Tuesday, I'm going to talk about Yeah, so the moon, after it meets with the sun and gets all that information from, the consciousness of our blueprint, and the moon is now holding the blueprint and figuring out feeling into how we can embody this, how this is going to happen. The moon is then going to trine. So once again, a flowing aspect between two earth signs. Okay, moon is going to trine Mars and Taurus. And with that trine, Taurus is the builder right now. Taurus is the builder. Okay? Saturn's the architect, really, really concerned with the form. Saturn can also be the engineer too, but Saturn is concerned about the form. Okay? Virgo is like the engineer / project manager, and Taurus is the builder. Okay, so that's how the earth signs work. So now the engineer is going to now talk to the builder. Okay, and we're going to align that will. We're going to align our will to build with our need to embody the blueprint. So Mars is going to have a direct channel to that. And also sextiling the sun. Mars will also be sextiling the sun at this time. So Mars is also not only getting this intel from our feelings from the moon, but Mars is also understanding how the soul of our blueprint is forming. So we're going to have, Mars is getting all of this information from both the sun and the moon about what we're building and how we're building it. So Mars has an understanding of both sides. It's the what and the how of what it is that we're actually building. So it's really important because we need that for a balanced structure. Okay, we can't have it just be more consciousness and not enough emotion, or too much emotion and not enough consciousness. We need for both things. So Mars has the opportunity to talk with the sun and understand what it is that our vision is becoming. Okay, because once that consciousness starts to get infused with the soul, it starts becoming. So our vision starts to become something, and then we need to understand, the Mars needs to understand what it is that it is clearing the space for Uranus to build, for Uranus to allow to come into being. Okay, so that's what we're working towards with the moon. Okay, now Mercury's going to do a couple things on Tuesday also. So we got a full moon, and then Mercury's going to do some stuff. So Mercury is going to conjunct Neptune. Okay, Mercury's going to conjunct Neptune, and it could be a day of just a lot of confusion. You can feel really confused because the energies are very intense. It's a full moon, and there's a huge culmination. Something just shifted. We've just let a lot of stuff go. We have shifted we've altered our course in a sense. I mean, I don't want to say altered our course, but we've chosen a course of action. This is very much a point of choice. And it's in that choice and in that shift, now we've created this liminal space. I don't know if anybody's ever been present for a death or a birth, but you'll know that there's that it's very peaceful, it's very quiet, but it's a magical feeling. And I feel like this is kind of the feeling that's coming, that Mercury conjunct Neptune. It can feel a little confusing, but if you are aligned in that blueprint, if you're aligned in your blueprint, then you'll be able to, the concept is now becoming infused with soul. The concept of our blueprint is becoming infused with soul, and you'll be able to feel that in your mind. You'll be able to feel it in your mind. It's getting spiritualized. The concept is getting spiritualized, getting a soul or solarized or whatever. But either way, Mercury is going to conjunct Neptune, and our concept of our blueprint is now completely immersed in the soul waters, and it's really, really coming to life. So it is about the concept of our dreams coming true. Okay, the concept of our dreams, infusing that. And then Mercury right after is going to sextile Saturn. So this is where Mercury is going to our concept of our blueprint just got incredibly dipped into the soul waters and blessed by Neptune. Okay. Like I said, it could feel very confusing. It could feel really disorienting because shit's shifting, and it's shifting a lot. Okay. It's shifting a lot, but nothing's actually moving yet. So you can feel just kind of like, what in the world is going on? Just hold on to feel your way through, feel your feelings, hold on to that blueprint because it's not going to steer you wrong. Okay, just allow the current to take you. We're in the waters now. Allow the current to take you where you need to go. So Mercury having just conjunct Neptune, that's the concept of our blueprint. And conjuncting Neptune, it's really like Neptune just blessed it, gave it all the, the good solar dreaminess and ideal beauty and all that stuff. And then Mercury's going to sextile Saturn. And that is literally taking this concept to the architect. It's taking the concept of our blueprint to the architect. Okay? And they're going to talk about it. And Saturn is going to understand what to build from this. What empowering structure to build. What beautiful structure to build for this dream. Okay, that's what that meeting between Mercury and Saturn. So it's another confirmation. Okay, it's another form of commitment, because now once Mercury takes that concept to Saturn, Saturn is drawing up plans. Okay, that's what's happening. Saturn's drawing up plans. Before, Saturn would be like, hey, we need to create a container for this. Like, this is what you need to do. You need to have this. But now it's like Saturn is meeting with Mercury, and it's like, oh, this is the concept. Let me draw the plans. Okay, Saturn is the architect of our dreams, how we make that come true. Okay? Mercury is also this day going to enter the shadow phase. So Mercury starts the shadow phase at 16 degrees Pisces. Okay? And then Mercury's going to go all the way to 29 degrees Pisces, stop. Okay? And then retrograde all the way back to 16 degrees again. All right? So Mercury will be in the shadow phase starting on the 19th. So this just means be aware that anything that is up right now, and for the next couple of weeks, Mercury will be going retrograde in 2 weeks, it could be coming up again. So this is what I'm saying. Like, the blueprint is solidified, but we're still working it out. Okay? We're still working it out. We're going to be working out the hows of the blueprint over the Mercury retrograde period. It's going to be the hows, not so much the what's and the whys. It's more the how that we're going to be going back and forth with Saturn about and talking to other planets. But that's for later. But I'm just letting everybody know that be open and just allow. Just try not to think about the hows. Let magic happen. Okay, let magic happen. I'm saying this for myself too. Okay, so Wednesday, the moon is going to oppose Neptune and Mercury. Okay, so Mercury is already in shadow phase and has just gotten done talking to Neptune and Saturn and, kind of handing our blueprint concept to Saturn. So now the moon is going to oppose Mercury, and we could literally have like a lot of anxiety about the how. Okay. I'm feeling that there could be a lot of anxiety, like kind of like, oh shit, what did I just do? And I don't know how the fuck this is going to take place. That's kind of the energy that I'm feeling. It's momentary. It will pass. It's a matter right now of just surrender. It's really about surrender and trusting that our blueprint, it's coming. Okay, because we can't see what's happening yet, but trusting. We have to trust and we have to surrender. And like I said, I'm saying this to myself too. But moon opposite Neptune, it could also be like a really emotional day, and a day where we kind of can't get clear on our feelings, or we're feeling we're just feeling a whole lot of feelings. Once again, just stand with your blueprint, stand in your truth. It'll anchor that's the anchor that we have right now, because it's going to be like a big influx of energies coming through. And just hold fast and trust that your blueprint is it's solid. Okay, trust that your blueprint is solid. Trust that what you want is solid. Trust that you know what you want. Okay, trust yourself. All right, so the moon opposite Neptune and Mercury could be like a really kind of confusing day where we're like, oh shit, how is this gonna get done? And then I'm gonna float away and take a nap. Okay, like we're upset about it, but just have faith. Next, the moon is going to trine Venus. Okay, so after it gets done meeting with Neptune and Mercury, moon is going to trine Saturn, trine Venus, and trine Pluto in succession. Okay, so as the moon meets with Venus, the moon is going to be like, okay, like, how do you want to build? Like, what are you designing up there, Venus? Because Venus is talking to Saturn. Like, they're still talking. There's still enough in aspect. It's not exact when Venus is moving forward, but they're still talking, and like, they're committed. This is a committed aspect. They're committed to this project. So Venus is talking to Saturn about, hey, like, this is what I want. This is how I want to structure things. Can we add in blah, 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 and Saturn's like, yes, so it's really, it's a matter of the moon trining all three of these planets. It's checking, it's the builders, it's the architects checking in with the engineer. That's what it is. It's like they're designing this structure. Like, actually, Pluto is helping to regenerate some structures that may have crumbled or may have flattened. But Pluto is helping to regenerate now, like, what it is that we want to build from a very, very root, at the root. Pluto is the root. So we are building from the root up. And the moon is getting this information about how to do that. Okay, how to make that happen. Okay, so the moon is the engineer right now, and the moon is talking to the architects of the structure. How are we going to get this structure built? What do you have in mind? What does it look like? That's what the moon is asking. Okay, and Venus is giving input about how the structure should attract, how it should look, what it should, what it should say about the person, so that the Venus is giving that, and also the love behind it, real solid love, real solid dedication to this effort. So that's what Venus is offering. Saturn is offering literally the structure. Saturn is the architect. So Saturn is creating this structure for the moon to then understand how to build. Okay? And like I said, Pluto is like the root of the structure, the deepest foundation that the structure is going to stand on, where we don't even see it. Okay? So that we can go as high as we need to. Pluto is making sure that this goes down to the roots. That's what Pluto's doing. And so the moon is talking to all of them and understanding what it is that this structure needs to get built. All right. So then the moon is then going to square Jupiter. Okay, so the moon in Virgo, like I said, is the how. Jupiter is expansion. Okay, Sagittarius is higher learning, higher expansion. But Sagittarius isn't really about details. Okay, it just, Sagittarius is not a very detail-oriented sign. It's too expansive. That's actually where Virgo and Sag actually kind of don't get along in a lot of ways, because Sagittarius is not bogged down by details. And Virgo is. So emotionally, we are all in, we're in this, the how are we going to do it? And Jupiter is going to be asking us to kind of get out of that a little bit and to trust and have faith that it will be the way it is, because the be the way it needs to be, because Jupiter is not only faith, but it is higher law. If we are aligned with our higher selves, which is also Sagittarius, if we're aligned with our higher selves and our higher truth, then it's going to get built the way that it needs to. And sometimes we just need to back off a little bit. Okay, so while Virgo is the engineer and the project manager, okay, Jupiter is asking us to have faith. All right, so it could be a day of kind of feeling very frenzied and feeling really intense and trying to get all up in our emotional space about the how. And Jupiter is going to come and be like, you really need to just relax and it'll all get done. Relax. And our Virgo-ness might be a little upset about that. So that's Wednesday. Thursday, the moon is going to then trine the South Node. So we're going to be getting some gifts about how to do this. Okay, because this is something that we have done. Like this South Node, once again, it's a point of something that we've done before. So we do know how, like we do have some information about maybe what should, the how and the what should be structured. But we don't want to take too much just yet, because we really want to be pulling from the North Node. Okay, so we might have to kind of examine. It might be a moment of feeling a lot of old things that we have to sort through, because that's also something that Virgo does. Virgo is discernment. So there might be some South Node stuff that comes. It's like somebody handing you a box of old stuff, and you have to go through and figure out what's still useful and what is not. That's the feeling that I get when the moon is going to trine the South Node on Thursday. We might end up feeling a bunch of stuff and having to parse out what is useful and what can go into this new structure and what is just not even worth putting in. Like we don't want it in there. Okay, so that's that. The moon, when it trines the South Node, it's going to sextile the North Node. So that's through that sextile with the North Node, that's how we're going to know what to keep and what to toss. Okay, because the sextile to the North Node is going to be an opportunity for us to connect with our node of evolution, connect with our destiny drive, and to understand we're building a home. Okay, we're building a home. That we're not just building a place of power. We are building a home. North Node in Cancer. We're building a home from which to grow from, to grow up into and from. Okay, so that's what we're building, a home. So we're going to need to be talking to Cancer. We're going to need to talking to that North Node, and that Cancer North Node is going to be able to tell us, okay, this crap from the South Node, that needs, don't keep that, don't keep that. That's okay to stay. So that's what's going to be happening. So the moon in Virgo and the North Node in Cancer are going to be examining this box of crap from the South Node and determining what gets to be in the new home structure. Okay. And then the moon is going to move into Libra. Okay. Where it's going to take a decidedly different, more objective bent, but we'll still be thinking about the details of this new structure, because now the moon is going to be thinking about how it's going to relate to this. How are we going to be relating here? Okay. And then this takes us to Friday. So Friday, Mercury is going to sextile Venus. Okay, so we have Mercury sextile Venus, Mercury in Pisces, sextiling Venus in Capricorn. Once again, this is now the concept. Mercury's taking this blueprint concept, and now it's taking us to the attractor, to the relator. It's taking it to the beauty person. Okay, and Venus is going to be like, oh yeah, like, how about if we do this and this and this and this and this? But the revisions and what Venus is going to want to do is going to infuse that real beauty, that solid beauty, that solid, like I said, it's just a sense of making it real. It's just like a very clean aesthetic to this to this blueprint. Okay, like Venus in Capricorn, it just wants what's real, it wants what's nice, but also wants what's real, and it's going to be worthy, like worth something. Like Venus in Capricorn, I feel like is assessing, not necessarily the worth of the concept and the worth of the blueprint, but adding substance to it. That's what I'm trying to say. It's adding substance. Things are worthy when they have things are worth something when they have substance. Okay, they're worth something when they have substance. And I feel like Venus in Capricorn is taking this concept of the blueprint and adding substance to it, giving it substance. That's what I feel like. That's what I feel like is happening. Okay, then the moon is going to square Venus on Friday. Really, on Friday? I'm moving really fast. I'm going to say that might be Saturday. Sorry, I'm that's going to be Saturday, because I'm like, wait a minute, that could happen. That's what I wrote down. So anyway, so the moon on Friday is going to square Venus. So the moon in Libra squaring Venus, the moon's like, once again, the moon is thinking about, it's also thinking about the how of the blueprint. But now the moon is wanting to relate. So it's like, I think the moon is going to be like in a very relational kind of place where it's like a little, because I think we've had to let some stuff go. Okay, we've had to let some things go. And I think the moon is going to be feeling some kind of way about that. Okay, just what we've had to let go, because and wanting to be relating. So we're going to want to touch base. Okay, we're going to want to touch base with folks is what I'm feeling. And the moon squaring Venus is us remembering, like, Libra and Capricorn square each other because Libra has a tendency to kind of, I'm trying to think of like how to put this. The moon in Libra can be very, very indecisive. Okay. And Venus and Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn are very decisive. Okay. So the moon could be having some second thoughts. That's what I'm trying to say. The moon could be having some second thoughts about what's happening, because it could feel very destabilizing. Okay, because they're having to say goodbye. And moon in Libra is also, it's detached, but at the same time, it has a hard time like deciding on whether or not something is, it has a hard time deciding. Okay, so there could be like some emotional guarding while, we're trying to like get it could be destabilizing emotionally. It could be like a little bit of emotional destabilization as we try to figure out what's going on with us and process what's happening to us. Okay. So I feel like that could cause a rub with Venus. Okay. Because Venus is like, this is what we're doing. Okay. And Venus is like, but, the moon is like, so I feel like there could be like just a little bit of just kind of just friction and not super, super bad, but I feel like it's around relationships, and it's around, did I make the right decision? Okay, I think it could be like, did I make the right decision? Because I can't see how this is happening. So have I made the right decision to, get rid of X, do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. All that stuff from the weekend. Have I made the right decision? Because we're coming up on the square. So that could be like the build up to the squares. Have I made the right decision? Okay. And where is this concrete stuff that I'm waiting for? So it could be that. And then the moon is going to sextile Jupiter. Okay. And when the moon sextiles Jupiter, it's going to feel better. Okay, it's just going to feel better. Because then the moon's going to be like, oh, okay, right, I forgot. Let me just back up a little bit and have a little bit of faith. And, Libra is a very light energy and Capricorn is very heavy. So it can make the moon in Libra feel a little bit oppressed and like I said, and frantic, and wonder if the right decisions have been made. When the moon gets that opportunity aspect from Jupiter and Sagittarius, the moon is going to feel a lot more expansive, okay, which is something that Libra understands being an air sign. It feels more expansive, and it's going to be able to kind of take a more broader view, the moon, and be able to just be like, okay, all right, I understand. I just need to back up a little bit and take some space. So I think we'll be feeling a little bit better, but as the moon goes over Venus and Saturn and Pluto, I think we could be kind of like having a little bit of a frantic moment of like, oh my God, what did I just do? Is this the right path? I'm not so sure this is the right path. When is this going to show up? Nothing's ever going to come. I feel like it could be that kind of energy. Mercury, after sextiling Venus, I did forget this part, is also going to square Jupiter and the nodes of the moon. Okay, so what the heck did I write? Oh my gosh. I just messed up Friday. I'm not even gonna, I'm sorry. I've had 50 takes of this podcast and because it's so much going on and so much energy, it ended up being way longer than I ever thought. And I've had to redo it so many times to get it down to this little bit. So I think I'm a little punch drunk and I'm really, really sorry. But I usually do a Friday recap anyway. So I'm going to actually end it here and stop talking because I need to. And what I'll do is I will recap on Friday. But what I really just want to say is that we are in a space of finalizing that blueprint. Okay, that's what's happening over this weekend. That's what is happening as that full moon culminates. And then we're going to be kind of after that full moon and leading into the third quarter square, we're going to be in that liminal space where it might feel a little weird because we just did this really big thing and we're just waiting. Okay, so I just want to say that it's okay. We have to surrender now. Pisces is surrender. It's complete surrender, and it's going with the flow and allowing your dreams to come and being creative and, feeling your way through. So that's what we're being asked to do. And it's not, I don't think it's not going to be an easy thing. Okay, I'm going to say, I don't think it's going to be an easy thing. But it's going to feel damn good to know that whatever it is that you need to do to cause this shift on Sunday, whatever it is, knowing that you have this vision for yourself and knowing that that is what you want and that you have the capacity to bring that into being, that's huge. And I just want to tell everybody to just have faith and to trust. And like I said, just surrender and dream and rest and just allow. And, whatever doors begin to open, just explore. We're going into retrograde season, so don't sign on the dotted line yet, but do feel free to explore and play and feel in. Okay, feel into your dreams. Live into them now. I feel like that's what this retrograde is about. That's what the energy is going to shift into. It's we're going to start, like I said, we have this culmination and a shift and then a solidification and a confirmation. And then it's time to begin the process of the letting go. So we're going to be in some liminal space where we're letting stuff go. We're letting things go. We're letting the energy shift. We're letting the tides take us where we need to go. So we need to trust and allow while also feeling in to where it is that we need to be going. I do want to just mention before I go that the tarot card for this week is the Six of Swords again. If people have been listening for the last couple of weeks, you'll remember that this was actually the card for the start, for the new moon, for the start of the blueprint season. And this is what I always call the blueprint card. The Six of Swords is Mercury in Aquarius. It is being able to take an objective and detached view. It's aligning your intellect with the higher intellect and being able to see a bigger picture from a broader perspective and how things are connected. Okay, so that's Mercury in Aquarius. In the Rider-Waite card, I think I've mentioned this a couple weeks ago. It's actually like a woman and her child surrounded by 6 swords being ferried away on like a little raft. And my friend and I, we always joke, we're like, get on the boat. Okay. I think this is very, very appropriate. We've solidified the blueprint. So the blueprint is back in play right now, this is like, start with the blueprint and then we're going to like have some energy where some things change. And now the blueprint is solidified. Revise the blueprint, change the blueprint, solidify the blueprints. Now the blueprint is solidified and we are on the boat. We are now in the waters of Pisces. So if you want to take that Rider-Waite imagery, we're now in the waters of Pisces and we're being moved to what's new for us now. The blueprint is set. Okay. We finished it. Okay. We know what's happening and now we have to be moved. And it's not anything that we need to force. It's not anything that we need to force. It's remembering to keep that broad perspective. Okay. Keep the perspective. Keep the blueprint in our minds. Keep the blueprints in our hearts. Mercury in Pisces is the mind connected to the heart, the mind connected to the soul. Keep that connection, but also understand the broader view of what's going on and allow the currents of life to take you where you need to go, because we don't know the hows of the blueprint yet. We don't know the how. That is all still working out and that is unknown to us. So we have to stay in that space of don't know mind. But the mind is in Pisces, so we might actually kind of know a little bit because it's a lot of intuition there. So on that note, I am going to stop talking and wish you all a really, really wonderful week of really beautiful full moon energies, blessings of shifting and letting things go and allowing new things to open up. And yeah, I will talk to you all next week. Also, if anyone is interested in a reading or, finding out more about me and the work that I do, please visit my website, elementsandalchemy.com. Visit me on Instagram at Elements and Alchemy. And, also, Spotify playlist for Pisces season will be up on Monday. So if you have Elements and Alchemy on Spotify, and you can listen to some Pisces inspired tunes, get you through the week. So talk to you all next week. Much love.